Hello, Corey here. We're going to go over the trades and holdings for ULTY. So we can see here we had a bunch of closed actions. Again, this is if they had to pay to close out some of the short calls, and they're going to show up here on Fridays. And then they'll also close out the synthetic positions that go along with those. So they ended up having to pay to close this GigaCloud GCT short call. Let's see, let's go over. So they closed out that entire position, 648 contracts, and you can see it cost, well, not cost, but total, all of the shares together, they brought in $246,000. Due to the synthetic position, they were able to bring in income, and that's going to be the same thing for all of these. So for Mind Medicine here, so this one only closed out 30 contracts, but they brought in $1,000 for that. NanoX Imaging, this one they only closed out 7 contracts. And actually, so let me back up. Sorry, these all expire in a couple of weeks. And they decided that they wanted to close out of some of these. Now, you know what? This does say next week. Let me make sure because I've been jumping all over everywhere. I actually wrote them here. So let's just double check. Yep, that says the 19th. Yep. All right. So I did have it here right, or they do have it on here right. I just wanted to make sure. Not really sure why they decided to close these out earlier. Maybe it's based on the price. I don't know why all of my color codes and my difference in greens and reds and everything is everything's messed up. So we had a short call with a strike price of 30, and it was 34.75. So that's why they closed that out, because they were over the strike price there by $5. I guess they didn't want to wait for it to get worse. The same thing here. They were over it by 10%. They were over this one by 6. So I wonder if they're going to start doing it like that, because the first time that I've seen them do this, ones that weren't expiring immediately, they usually wait out. Maybe they're trying a new strategy. So that's what happened here, is all of these that were on the 19th in 2 weeks, they were all above. They were all above their strikes. But yeah, so that Mind Medicine was partial, NanoX Imaging was partial, Root and VRT, though both of those were, they've closed out of those altogether. But as you can see over here on the left hand side, they brought in money for all of those. So if we go back over to yesterday's holdings, so I just went and reviewed it. So you didn't see any on there with the reds, which the April 5th, well, you saw one. It was the last one that they ended up closing out fully. But you can see here, my color codes are actually there. So they were in the green because they were below that synthetic or that short call strike price. And I don't know, it keeps happening to my things when I'm copying them. Freeze rows. Awesome. Okay, so it's not even going to let me freeze a row. So anyway, what I was trying to show here is all these in this column for these April 5th, you see that they're in the green. But that means they're under the short call. Therefore, they were good to go, and they expired worthless. So that's everything I noted on the side. Now, this EH, that's one for a couple of weeks. But again, as you can see, it's below the strike price by 7%. It's green. And then if we go to GigaCloud, that we'd already discussed here, we can see negative 12% for that short call. They were over that short call, so they closed it. And then we have the Hut and LabU and Mara. For all of those short calls that expired Friday, they were all green. Therefore, they all expired worthless. Now, if we go down to this Mind Medicine, you can see it was over the strike price by 80 cents or 8%. So they closed that one out. But they left the one with the $11 strike price. And then this MSOS, Cannabis ETF, and MicroStrategy here, both of those short calls were below the strike price, so they expired worthless, meaning we didn't have to pay any money or any fees to close them out or anything like that. And then so the NanoX imaging, they did close that one out because it was over the strike price there. So this is going to be different because I haven't seen this pattern before. So I guess they're doing it in case it gets worse. But let's see, so Root, that was the one they closed out of altogether. And then we can see the SMCI and Viking Therapeutics there. They were both green for their short calls. So they expired worthless. Now, if we go down to VRT, that one shows at the end of the day that it was 4% under the strike. So let's look. VRT. So they must have closed it out during the day because, oh, I'm sorry. That other one's from yesterday. My bad. So that's why. So they ended up, the stock ended up closing out $1.34 above, but they must have closed it out at 84.72. I forget that I'm looking on a past day. But so they ended up closing that entire thing out. And then the last two there for Wayfair, they ended up expiring worthless as well. So you're not, the only reason I go back and look and just double check and you see it, right? Because we get to see the ones that were closed, but then we forget about the ones that weren't closed. But if we go to our holdings here now, and I don't think I have any notes. So yeah, you can see here, where we closed out the 30 contract short call for the Mind Medicine. Well, this is the synthetic that went with it that got closed out. Same thing with NanoX Imaging, where they closed out 7 contracts. That's where they closed out the synthetic positions. So now if we look at this, all we have left here are the synthetic positions for all of them, with the exception to those that the short call was not over the strike. So we have EH here, right? We're still 3% under. Oh, and it looks like Mind Medicine actually ended up closing right at $11. Of course, I'm sure they had no idea it would close exactly at $11 by the end of the day. And then they had the NanoX Imaging. It's still 16% under. So those are the only short calls they have left. And in case you're new to watching this, on Monday they'll do their game plan for the week, and they'll close out any of these that they decide they don't need anymore, and they'll open up whatever positions that they want to do for the week that may expire next week, or it may expire a week or two out. So let's see if we have any big moves. So yeah, MicroStrategy, that's our big move for today, right? It went down 11%. So yeah, that went up underneath our synthetic positions for MicroStrategy. So we'd really want that to come back up before thinking about closing that out. I guess at least it's not too much since it's only 12 contracts. And then it looks like, what is this? MSOS, right? Came up 7%. And then one more went down 7. I did go over this, but it was in the other one, HUT 8. That's right. So anyway, that's basically where we're staying. I know I didn't go through each one of these, but again, it's one of those things on Friday, unless they have a short call, there's no real reason to go over it, because on Monday they may just turn around and close those out. So, yep. I think that, I forget, on this one I have the summary thing, right? So we have here the current holdings, and then this, sorry, I forget about this tab sometimes. And there we go. So again, we see this, but again, it doesn't really mean much until next week. Same thing with the holdings there. Here we can sort of see our outstanding shares, which I did not copy down. But it looks like we went up 125,000 shares. Yeah, I didn't copy down yesterday's either. I guess I forgot. I'll get that in there though. But yeah. All right. Anyways, no more ULTY videos until next week. And of course, Monday will always be long because there'll be lots of things to go over. So anyway, I'm going to move on over to do the regular YieldMax single stock ETFs. You have a great weekend.